We're dedicating this episode to those of you who've had to crack the office firewall, lock yourself in the bathroom, or take both hands off the steering wheel to catch the show. Welcome to Think Tank, powered by Vodacom. I'm Zelim now. This is Tank Lanning. Tank, round 12 of SupeRugby, return of the underdog, Cheetahs beat the Stormers, and Rebels ambushed the Chiefs.
And the Sharks imploded yet again. Yeah, it was a hell of a weekend. Interesting on all fronts. Perhaps a quick word on the Sharks. There were some individual performances, but just as an entity, I think it's just all gone completely south. And, it's time for sort of a rework, I'd suggest. Yeah.
The question of the week in Twitter came from a Stormtrooper who wanted to know what your form SupeRugby 15 was. I'm assuming there'll be some Sharks missing from that lineup.
I saw that question and obviously put a little bit of thought into it, so I've written it down. And, perhaps remarkably, there are a couple of Sharks in there. I'll go, and perhaps that speaks to the point, is that I think individually, I think the Sharks are still playing okay. Yeah. This is some big name players that are performing. But as a unit, I just think they've gone a bit south. So my form 15.
Let's have it.
So it's based completely on form during SupeRugby thus far. Kitsoff, I think he walks alone there, although Van Rooyen, another Roy Kop for the Lions, has done really nicely. Yeah. I think Bismarck still gets in there on form at hooker. Vincent Koch, for me, has probably been the find of the tournament, so I think he gets there at tight head. Even Etzebeth, I know he hasn't played everything and hasn't played every game, but he's growing. And then probably controversially, I'd have Ruan Botha at 5. Probably going to be accused of Stormers bias there. Yeah. But I just think he's a good player, showing some really, really good talent. And Matfield, it's a little bit off the ball at the moment. Then Lucy's would be Kutsia. It's just been unbelievable. I think Brousseau was pretty good before he got injured. Alberts, he was a machine again. I know he's got a bad back and he doesn't play every game, but when he does play, he's very influential. So I'd have at 7. Dwayne's, walks alone at 8. Kobus Reinach, so that's another Sharks player at 9. I think he's the form 9. Then the 2 wings, I'd go with Hougaard and Basson. So the 2 Bulls players. Basson in the air is just incredible. And I think Hougaard's, he's finding his sort of vein again. It's not 9, it is on the wing. And I think he's playing quite nicely. Yep. Centres, Damon de Allende, it's just incredible. Normally, all the South Africans are way off the pace in terms of attacking stats. But he's up there with defenders beaten, meters run, offloads, really, really top-class attacking player. Then my bolter would be Francois Venter, the Cheetahs outside
great
centre.
Man.
Yeah, Mapai probably with a deserved look, but he'd be my bolter. And then at the back would be the guy that we've been speaking about right from the beginning, is Jesse Kriel. I just think his stats are also right up there on the attacking front, and I think he's been, without doubt, the form 15 of the tournament.
Right, the Sharks played the Highlanders. It's obviously a Kiwi opponent, but in both of the South African derbies this weekend, there was quite a prevalence of that driving maul again. I mean, there were 7 tries at Loftus, but that driving maul seemed to be back in vogue?
Oh, it can drive me scatty. And look, I call it legalised obstruction because that's what I think it is. And I think, even with now refs letting players get join ahead of the last man's feet, it makes it even more difficult to defend. So that aside, though, my concern is that I think South African players, teams, especially like the Stormers and the Sharks, are becoming too reliant on it. And you saw it again from the Brumbies in the weekend. Also, those Brumbies or the Australian sides are looking a little bit more South African by the week. Yeah. And you become too reliant on it because it is such an easy way to score a try. Right. Defences are so well organised these days, it's very difficult to suck in the fatties, which is what old-fashioned rugby used to do. So now you have 15 versus 15. To have unstructured play against a defence like that is really hard. Yeah. So the driving maul has become the easiest way to score tries, and I just have a concern that we're becoming overly reliant on it.
Tank, one of the contributing factors to that is that the South African outside backs on average are 182 metres tall, 89 kilograms, and the Kiwi backs are 187 and 97 kilograms. So there's a big size difference there, and obviously in terms of continuity and retaining your ball, that size issue is a factor.
Absolutely spot on. Nadala, those oaks are just giants. But to that point, though, and I'm not sure if it's a contributing factor, but the Kiwis just seem so much more inclined to use a 3-pass in the tram. Yeah. Whereas, we'd probably, if anything, we probably got Dwayne standing at 13 and then he'll go straight into a man. Whereas no matter, even if it's Whitelock or Reed out there, they'll do a quick drawn pass in a 5-metre space and they're confident enough to play the ball out wide. Right. And to your point, that's exactly what it's about, is that to get stuck out there and you're in a world of trouble. So you either need a man beast like Nadala, or you need to be clever enough and brave enough to do a little 3-on-2 and still utilize that in the trams. And I think the Kiwi sides do that well, and we don't do it that well.
Nice one, Tank. That's it for this week, guys. Please be sure to keep those questions rolling in using the hashtag ThinkTank, and also check out some more rugby content on vodacom.co/rugby. We'll see you next time. Ciao.